Hello everyone, a very good morning, good afternoon and good evening to all of you. This is your host Vaibhav. In today's session of JForex Indicator Explained, we will be looking at the concept, the uses, the properties of average daily range. This indicator tries to give you an idea of what is the volatility in the recent past, and depending on that, we get the prospective possible range with high value and the low value also being projected for current session. So depending on the volatility which we have seen in the calculation period, we get this range which is quite helpful in current session whenever we want to see where the exact momentum is and where the current price is in relative to its range for the day. We can utilize that information to then make the assessment whether we should be going with the trend or we should be expecting the prices to stall on the support or the resistance zone, or you can say the closer to the day's range, high or low it might be. So depending on that, we can get a clearer picture of what to expect moving forward. So we will see these indicators options, the customization tools available to us on the JForex 4, the newly released trading platform from the Dukascopy Bank SA. So let us now head to the JForex 4 platform. Alright, here it is. I have included Euro USD with the time frame drawn for the hourly candle period. And for this indicator, all you have to do a quick search, else you can even look it up through the listing add indicator option. So you have these two options, F3 and F4. If you want to know where it is listed, you just have to go to this add indicator option, and there you will find it amongst the indicators, volatility indicators. It is taking some time to respond. All right. Or even if you just go for the second option, quick search, there if you type in average daily range or daily, you will get the listing of all the indicators which have the name involving average. So most of the moving averages also include these names. So you have to type in daily and you will get this average daily range. Now coming to its uses, the uses are manifold. We get a good idea of the range, and as I said, using that range, we can see whether to go for a continuation, what to expect moving forward. So, in most of the cases, you might have observed that during the day's time, the prices reach certain level, and closer to those levels, the prices, the momentum generally stalls, and we see consolidation phase beginning to unfold, and later on some reversal might even take place, and on other days a breakout of sort can happen. So both these things are possible, and with that we have to be careful and we have to see which kind of levels we are experiencing for the underlying instrument, and in respect of those levels we can then take the trade. So for this session, let us now see where this indicator is listed first. Alright, volatility indicator, average daily range, or even if you simply do a quick search, average daily range, here it is. Okay, so this is the range for the day, and as you are seeing that for today's session at least we are seeing both these support and levels, the upper range and the lower range, acting quite well. We saw these early in the morning during the Asian trading session. The prices stalled closer to this lower band of this daily range, and after that, on the higher side, we saw this price reversal after the Euro USD cotton closer to this upper band of this daily range. So this is one useful aspect of utilizing this daily range, and using that we can then make our case whether to go for the new trades or whether to simply sit on the sidelines. Now, if we go back in time and consider all the historical ranges, so here on this historical range, you can see we have this plotting of the average daily range where we have seen these level, sometimes holding, sometimes a fresh breakout, sometimes the reversal. So not every time this is going to give you an exact measure of what to expect, but these are the levels you have to keep in mind, and using this data you then can make the fresh assessment where to expect the consolidation, and from which levels you can expect a possible reversal or even the start of new rally. So in that context, this range provides you information which is quite helpful, and also you get a good idea of what to expect, how much the price action can take on both the extreme sides. So even in that context, this average daily range gives you the idea of volatility. Sometimes the average daily range will prove too large for the underlying instrument to move. So in those kind of days where the price action is not that volatile, we will have this range holding well. But on other occasions, we might see swift and sharp moves even beyond this average daily range, the high or the low level. So in those kind of cases, it will be better to simply sit on the sidelines rather trying to make sense, or rather trying to get involved for the new breakout. So now, if we come back to today's session, here as you can notice, we had this average daily range drawn for almost 240 pips, but the actual moves for the Euro USD were even below 100 pips. So this kind of possibility is always there. Now coming to today's session, we have seen this exact reversal from this low and the high, but this is not going to be the case each and every time. Each and every day is a new day in the market, so every time the range is going to be different, and also the response of the price action is going to be different. So we have to keep all these things in mind and then see what kind of volatility is going to give you a clue, a good idea of what to expect moving forward. Now, let me give you some customization options provided to you on this platform. Prior to that, I would also like to give you a good idea of how this is calculated. This calculation is much more like the moving averages. All we have to do is get the average high over the calculation period. So whatever is the calculation period, 5 in this case. So we get average high price, we get the average low price, and then we take the difference, and that's how this range is calculated. Or for each 5 minutes, we can calculate this difference and then average it out. So that's how this average daily range comes into play. Now, coming to its customization, the calculation period can also be varied if you want to increase or decrease it. Suppose if you want to increase the calculation period to 14, you can do that, or you can even go for not many more days if you want to know the average daily range depending on the volatility for last whole month. Then you have to do increase these calculation periods to 22 or 23 depending on how many trading days are there in a month, and therein you will get a good idea of the average daily range depending on that month's data. You can use this 5 for figuring out the average daily range using last 5 days, that is a whole week's data. So you have to determine what kind of per calculation period is going to serve your purpose well, and then accordingly you can utilize this. Suppose if I increase it to say 22, the range is going to be different. Okay, here it is not much different, but it is different indeed, slightly though. And now if we plot the historical levels, you will observe the difference between these prior plottings as well. So this is to be expected given we are utilizing different calculation periods. So even while determining the calculation period, you have to be careful and see which one serves your purpose in a best possible manner. Now coming to the output, we have this color combination which we can vary, the separators, the ADR low and the high. I think this color combination is also looking fantastic, but if you want to customize it in your own way, then you can do that as well. So all you have to do is figure out what kind of color combination you want to utilize, and depending on that, you can then go for these various customization tools. The styling can also be varied. You can increase it or decrease the width, and also these transparency options are there for your use. You can increase it or decrease it. So here this thing, now the range is looking a lot more different compared to what it was utilizing the prior data. Now if I want to remove or edit historical levels, I can do that as well. Coming to the advanced editing options, if you want this range to remain constant throughout the current calculation period, then you have to opt in for this option, recalculate on new candle only. Highlight the time period zone. If you want to highlight the time period zone, you have to opt for this option. And further customization can also be done. Calculate from custom data. So in that case, the instrument can be used from the chart, or you can use any of the instruments. So whenever you change this instrument, you will have the average daily range newly defined for the new instrument. So all you have to do is figure out this combination and make changes, so you get a good idea of this average daily range for each of these instruments. Now it is there, but it's not visible. So now here it is. So in case of GBP USD, the average daily range was broken, but then the reversal happened and we are now observing the GBP USD again, retracing some of its earlier gains and reverting back below this high defined by average daily range. So you will get this range defined for each of these instruments. So all the instruments provided on the platform are going to be covered by this indicator. So you can utilize this to make your assessment of the volatility and then plan the trades accordingly. Okay. Advanced editing options, instrument, candle period can be varied, used from the chart. So it is not going to make much of a difference. You have to use day, or suppose if you want to make it hourly, that's not really going to work much. Then this is going to be calculated for each hour, and I don't really feel that then we can call it average daily range. Then we will have to call it average hourly range. So the whole concept is going to change. So you have to see what kind of combination you want to work with, and then depending on that, you can vary this calculation period as well. So here we are now going to get this average range for 4 hours, and it will remain valid for 4 hours. Okay. Now I'm going to restore it back to use from the chart. The side spread ask or bid, that is not going to make much of a difference, only slight difference, but the range is going to be the same unless there is too much of an fluctuation between the spread over the calculation period. Now coming to the indicators availability, if you want it to be available on all the candle periods, you have to opt in for this option, else you have to specify on which time frame you want the indicator to be available, and only on those time frame this indicator will be available. Suppose if you go for the indicators availability on hourly and 4 hourly only, then in that scenario this will be available only on hourly and 4 hourly time frame, but not on other time frames, like for example 30 minutes or any other time frame. So that is how this system works. So you can add multiple indicators on different time frames to get a good idea, good sense of the price direction, and make the assessment using multiple indicators. All right. Now I will restore it back to 4 hourly and get these editing options back again. So guys, that's it from my side for today's session. If any of you have any query or any idea to share, you can write back to me in the feedback section and I will be more than happy to take the discussion forward. For further coverage of the market developments, do check out the Dukascopy Analytics page. We are also available on the Facebook. You can reach out to us there too. For trying out the newly released trading platform, I have included the link in the bio. So give it a try and let me know how it works out for you. So that's all from my side for today's session. I will be back tomorrow with a new indicator, new concept, new uses, new property explanation. So do come back. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.